Hey everybody, this is Javi, and you are watching the Bowtie Psychic here on YouTube. I'm a psychic and intuitive medium who focuses on divination and storytelling to help people overcome generational trauma. Thank you so much for watching this video. I am actually starting an initiative. I was led to start this initiative, doing like a daily, um, a readings daily, um, for just to give people hope and just to have people have, so people can just have a message, basically, so folks can have a message every day. um, and so that is what I'm doing. If the message resonates with you in any way, shape, or form, just click the like button, the little thumbs up. Also, share the content, and also subscribe to the video, or subscribe to the channel rather, so you don't miss anything. All right, so thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your energy. I appreciate you connecting with me. Like, you have no idea how grateful I am to see you here. And so when I was tapping into spirit, I definitely got the message that a lot of people that I'm connected to, spiritually, are looking for hope. People, and when I mean connection, I mean those who are watching this video and will resonate with what I'm saying. Um, a lot of us are looking for hope. A lot of us are looking for some sort of sign that everything's going to be okay, because right now the world is just almost crumbling, and it seems that way. The perception that we receive, that the world is crumbling and the world is hurting, and the world is is basically like taking on a form, and that we are not recognizing. What I'm also getting from spirit is that as a result, people are becoming very discouraged by the media, by what they're seeing, and as a result of that, there's a lot of panic. There's a lot of panic, and this just discord. Um, and this, some of y'all feel defeated, as if you don't know what to do, and you don't know um, how to navigate and on what's like navigate the world because of what's going on. A lot of you are ruminating on what's going on. A lot of you are in paralysis because of what's going on. People are becoming depressed and anxious. People have like this feeling of hopelessness. And it's just very, and I could just feel it. I could feel it, like especially in my heart chakra. There's a lot of people hurting. Um, there's a lot of people hurting, and and the reason why I'm saying that, because even though there's a lot of hurt and there's a lot of confusion going on, especially spiritually, there's a lot of spiritual people walking around as well, um, not knowing what to do at this point. And there's a lot of us that are carrying the answer but don't know what to do to convey the answer, because they don't want to look a certain way, or uh, be perceived as naive, or perceived that as someone who is giving solutions, like a simple solution to complex problems. And a lot of you are not speaking up either. A lot of spiritual people, a lot of spiritual leaders, or leaders to be, are not speaking up about what's going on. And so you're staying to yourself, you're doing all this reflection, you're keeping quiet, even though that is a good thing. Um, in the short term, in the long term, we're all being called to say something about what's going on, because we're getting a lot of downloads, and we're getting a lot of messages from spirit. We're getting a lot of messages to give to the world, in some way, shape, or form, and we're being asked to step up. Like, spiritual leaders are people who, and or people who have the gift, uh, that have a gift that's developed, and we're being called to uh, basically connect with the human race, connect with the human race, and basically be aware of our own consciousness. Sorry about that. By our own thinking, a way of thinking in our own consciousness, um, so we can better serve the world. We can better serve the world. I'm just seeing that despite the defeatist energy that I have, there's also this beacon, like this hope, you know, not just hope, but we know the solution. We know that there's a better solution. We're always looking for solutions as well. And so that's the intuitive message that I'm getting as far as how people are feeling, but at the same time, what people are willing to do to step up and to let the world know that there is more to what's going on than the chaos and discord. Because all that stuff is happening because we are being pushed out of our comfort zone. We're being pushed out of our basic ideologies in regards to politics, in regards to this world. We're being we're literally being taught, through all this stuff, all the stuff that's going on. We're being taught, how to be strong, how to be confident, how to stay grounded, how to be grounded. Uh, we are being challenged. We're being challenged intellectually, spiritually, physically. We're being challenged into thinking a certain way, coming up with better solutions, coming up with solutions that in the long term will be permanent. In the long term will will be the betterment of. Now, let me see how to word this. Like, this is an opportunity for us as a human race to think of better solutions that in the long term would not only benefit us, but benefit everything else, every other sentient being here on this earth and other in other planets. You know what I mean? Because everything that we do here on earth definitely affects the spirit world. It affects the other parts of the universe, other alternate universes. Everything that we do here, we are being watched. We're being watched and we are being studied. And and we are to be aware. We're being basically what I'm getting from spirit is that people here on Earth, people from alternate universes, other galaxies, other lifetimes, we are being watched. We're like that incubator planet. Planet Earth is an incubator planet that basically um, is showing others how the world works, how it can work, um, how it can, you know, be a better example for everything and everyone else. And so we are being asked to step up, and that's why all this stuff is happening. And this is not the time to be paralyzed. This is not the time for us to uh, run away from our lessons and to run away from what's going on in this world. That's why we're being told, we're being told to start looking within ourselves. Why do you think that there are so many like things going on in the world as far as these new moons and these energetic shifts and this call to let things go? It's for a reason. It's for a reason. It's to basically help us become better human beings, so we can start looking at better solutions to world problems, uh, based permanent solutions, not just things that that are going to be here and to be snatched away because of some political ideology or some religious or spiritual ideology. Is to have permanent results that will be for the betterment of this world. And it starts with us, and it starts with healing. It starts with an energetic shift, within us, so we can see our own divinity. And because that's the only way we're ever going to change this world is when we see our own divinity, when we start seeing our own worth, and we start seeing our own connection to to spirit, our own connection to whatever being that we are connected to. That's when we start to see ourselves as worthy. We start to see ourselves as viable, valuable, and we are not obligated, or we won't feel obligated to prove ourselves to anyone else because already we will be able to attract other people who are just like us, who are here to better the world, and we won't be so concerned with um, our enemies as far as how they view us. Okay, we'll be able to protect ourselves. We'll be able to protect our community. We'll be able to teach our community how to be better and to do better. And then we won't be so heavily reliant on outsiders or the government and what the government is all the things that the government is trying to do to shut us down. Because remember, they're going after people who once saw their strength, who once saw their worth, who are beginning to see their worth, who are working to shift the consciousness through their own movements. And so the government is very afraid. Those who are in our government is very much afraid of people and of demographics who are seeing and viewing themselves as something greater than the overall government. So that's why we are fighting so hard. There's a lot of people who are fighting so hard. Well, Spirit is basically saying that, yes, even though those people are doing an awesome job in helping humanity, this is also the time to look at different solutions to communal problems, to what's going on, because it's much bigger than us. But we don't have to do it on our own. We have spirit guides. We have, our ancestors from all over, not just from this lifetime, but from many lifetimes. We don't have to do this on our own. That's what I'm getting straight up and flat out. Yeah, I feel like there's this hopelessness and this helplessness because of this notion that we human beings are doing this ourselves. We are to do this ourselves in order to you know to find a balance, to find a better place, to have to get what we need, cancel delete need, to get what we are fighting for from these systems. And so we are getting from spirit is that we have a whole spirit team. We are gifted with the knowledge, or like the energetic knowledge, and the psychic knowledge and the intuitive knowledge to and basically like a lot of us are extremely intelligent, but there's also those who are very spiritual. It's time for us to use all of our spiritual, both of our spirituality and our practicality to find solutions. That will basically help with the hopelessness and get rid of that hopelessness. Okay, so I have and that's what I have intuitively, and what I got from spirit, because I have like 4 cards here, and they're from the dream. Let me show you this. The Dreams of Gaia deck, which is the tarot. Yeah, Dreams of Gaia tarot, and this is really good for this type of work as far as you like connecting with all of your ancestors, and on getting that push to do so. I love this. I really do, and it's like very intuitive because it deals with the elements. I just love it. Right. That's just me. I would twerk for that whole element, right? So the one card that we got here, the first card we got is the mind and the body and mind card. This is one of my favorite cards. I always, have particular favorites in this deck. This is one of my favorites because it talks about the connection of the mind and the body. And what this card is basically saying is this is the message you will get for September 1st. Like I said, I'm doing this daily. And for today, like the message you are receiving is that for today or any day, the mind and the body is to be connected. In order for you to do the work necessary, in order for you to do the spiritual work, in order for you to change the world, is not a coincidence that you're getting this on Labor Day, because Labor Day, we wouldn't even have this day if it weren't for the comrades who at the Haymarket protests that were not fighting for different work conditions, safer work conditions, uh, reasonable work hours. They are the reasons why. They are one of the reasons why there is a child labor, here in the United States. So basically, what this card is basically saying is that your mind and your body are to be connected. Use this day to relax and to connect to the spirit and to basically remind yourself of your strength, remind yourself of your warrior strength, remind yourself that you are a lot bigger than the labor system. You're a lot bigger than what the system is telling you. You're a lot better. You're a lot more valuable than this world gives you credit for. Do not allow a lot because I'm going to be honest with you. What I'm getting from spirit is that we allow these outside systems to determine what type of person we are. We allow these systems to tell us, how we let them dictate our value by how much we produce. And we get stuck there as a result. A lot of that hopelessness comes from our heavy reliance on the system. And so what Spirit is basically saying is that as far as how we view each other and how we view ourselves, that comes from getting rid of a lot of outside distractions. Getting rid of those outside distractions. Our mind and our body are to be connected. What we think about ourselves determines how we're going to act. Act, action, okay? Sometimes that is physical action. Okay, what that card is basically saying straight up and flat out is that what you think about yourself is going to determine how you act today or any other day. How you think about yourself is going to determine how other people are going to treat you and how you're going to act towards those people as a result. If you really believe that you are the shit, you're going to act as if. When you know in your subconscious mind, you have that message that you are valuable and that you are worth the fight and that you are worth the spiritual growth, that you're worth the abundance, you're going to act as if. You're not being conceited. You're not being arrogant. Because there's a difference between confidence and arrogance. But you will be confident in yourself because you know your inner divinity. But when when you in your mind or your subconscious thoughts are holding on to those messages, those traumatic messages that you are not valuable, that you're nothing, and that you don't deserve anything, more than likely, you are going to act as if. You're not going to do your best. You're not going to put your best forward. You're not going to, thank you. You're not going to put your best foot forward as far as your own life. There are many times when we say like, I love myself, YOLO, you know what I mean? Like we always do that. We do that. I love myself. I'll do this, I do that. I exercise, I pay my bills. I'm about that life. But not a lot of people, just because if you're taking responsibility for your stuff, does not mean that you care about yourself. Your mind and your body are to be aligned and for this type of work, for your spiritual work, and for you to understand that you are way more than your production, what you produce. You're way more than what our current systems are saying to people. You're a lot more than what you have in your home, as far as products, as far as materials, what you own. You're much more than that. And the mind, body, and your mind, your body, and your spirit are to be aligned for you to understand this. Okay? The next card we got is the perception card. And like I said before, in order for your mind and your mind plays a huge role in how you see yourself, but also plays how you see the world around you. Once the perception of yourself changes, so does your perception of the world, good, bad, or indifferent. Because the person dictates what type of environment. Okay, it dictates the person in the environment dictates the health of the environment. The people in your environment, it detects the growth and the prosperity of your environment, or lack thereof. That's one of the, and I really want to stress how nothing is good or bad until people are get involved. It's about intention. It's definitely about how we perceive ourselves and how we perceive our view of the world. This is one of the reasons why white supremacy, and that's why we're dealing with this now. Because people who are optimistic or people who do not value their own divinity decided that in order for them to have divinity, they had to take it away from somebody else. This is one of the reasons why we're dealing with white supremacy right now. Why we're dealing with what we're dealing with right now. Why we're dealing with why entire demographics, trans people, black people, women, children, people with disabilities see themselves a certain way. Because we live in a system that tells us that in order for us to feel good about ourselves, to feel powerful, we are to take that power away from other people, and not only take away that power, but to dehumanize them to the point where they can never get back. And that's the perception. We are being told that our perception of the world, our perception of ourselves, are the change that starts with what we think about ourselves. It starts with our mind, our subconscious mind. It starts with examining historical trauma, generational trauma, and understanding where that came from. In order for us to be, to even begin to unlock and unpeel that hopelessness that we feel on a global scale, we have to understand that it starts with the lack of divinity. It is certain in certain folks who felt that in order for them to feel powerful, in order for them to be divine or feel divine, or to feel chosen by God, that they were to take that and snatch that and cut that relationship off from other people. That divine, that divine connection, that divine energy that people have with spirit. It does not surprise me that these two cards came through. These two cards came through. They both deal with the mind. They both deal with the human race and how we perceive ourselves, and how these different systems and opportunistic people within those systems use our perception of self to dehumanize us to the point where even spiritually we're struggling. We're being asked, that is part, and we're being asked to examine that because that's part of our trauma. That's part of our generational and historical trauma. That's why a lot of us feel that hopelessness and helplessness when it comes to ourselves and our connection with God. It's really time for us to start doing a lot of deep meditation and deep connections, that deep, so we can get that deep connection with spirit again. You can start with 5 minutes of meditation, and then you can go 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Whatever thoughts come through, ignore. You can ignore them, or basically see them where they come from. Either way, meditation is about getting connected with spirit, getting connected to that inner source, so you can use that inner source to peel away a lot of what you've learned. Because a lot of what we learn affects our environment. Some of the stuff that we have learned over time, whether it be in this lifetime or the last lifetime, they're to be examined and to be unlearned if they are harmful. Because a lot of people, that's why I talk about past lives a lot. Because what affects you in this lifetime, more than likely, it was a lesson or something that happened to you, centuries ago. And our energy is intelligent. Our energy is intelligent, so it keeps everything that we've learned, everything that we've gone through, it stores that within itself. Which is why a lot of us are now seeing or feeling feelings that they're completely disconnected from what happened to us in this lifetime. And we can't even understand what the hell is going on because it happened in another lifetime. But that's a whole nother video altogether. And I bring that up because we are to start examining and really going in deep, because a lot of what we've learned throughout lifetimes is going to repeat itself until we learn that lesson, or we come to a different conclusion, or we come with different solutions. What is going on this earth is not new. What we're dealing with now is not new. It's been happening, but now we're being told to come up with different solutions. And the only way where we are able to do this is when we are connected. And once we are connected, we start to question. We start to question. We start to question what we have learned, what messages we have received, good, bad, and indifferent, and how we can use those perceptions to either grow or to change, or how we can use those lessons and how those lessons have kept us back and learn that. I'm also getting the Hero card. Now, this card usually means that that we can't be the hero for everybody. We can't be the hero for everybody. And this card usually means that we cannot be the hero for everybody. That we can't just go in and be, in a way that we just go in and just feel like your solution is the best solution. But what I'm getting from this card here is that we can't expect people to save us. We can't expect people to save us the way we can save ourselves. We cannot expect people to come up with the answers for us. We can't expect the system to look out for us. That is not the only solution. That's not the only way. I get that people wish to participate in the system, but if there's a reason why people do not and they want something different, this is not the time to argue. There are people who just want different solutions. And what I'm getting from this card, straight up and flat out, is that a lot of us are constantly waiting for the system to change its mind. And we vote for the the right people, that somehow change is going to come. And then after that, then what? As my spiritual advisor says, um, we can't, we're now, when it comes to politics and how politics work and how we work within that system or work for that system, we're literally bringing a knife to a gunfight. And so what she means by that is that we have not even begun to look at this the situation. We have not begun to look at um, we haven't even begun to look at the root of the problem. We're fighting symptoms of the problem, but the problem keeps sprouting. It tends to get worse over time. It is because we have not gone to the root of the issue. And the root of the issue is that the people in power from the very beginning have not seen their own divinity. This is also, yes, it's a political war, but it's also a spiritual one. And we are to be our own hero. And we are to be our own hero. We are to be looking for other solutions, better solutions, and other solutions besides the solution or besides the options that we have now. We are to be the hero of our own story. That means we are to do work on ourselves. We are to do work with. We are to do work within ourselves, for ourselves, in some cases by ourselves, because depending on their situation and depending on the issue at hand, not everyone will understand where you're coming from. There are times when you have to do things on your own and by yourself. I'm just getting a lot of warrior energy from this card because a lot of you are warriors. A lot of you are spiritual warriors. A lot of you are spiritual heroes and leaders, but you don't even recognize that within yourself because of the systems in place. And a lot of you don't recognize that. A lot of you do not recognize that you hold the power to your own story or to change your own story. A lot of y'all don't see that. So instead of you just seeing your own strength, y'all count on other people to see it for you. Or you count on other people to find it for you or to give it to you freely. When in actuality, that's not going to happen. What you can do though, what you're being called to do, is to find your own strength and to find your own power, to start doing the rituals necessary, to tap in the spirit, to talk to your ancestors, to understand your ancestors, not just in this lifetime, but in many others. It's time for you to see your own possibilities and to see your own strength, because the systems in place, they're going to do the complete opposite of what you're being called to do. It's as if like the systems that we have, whether it be the government, or great or small, or the industrial complexes that we are dealing with right now, they guarantee their power is guaranteed on your reliance. It's guaranteeing that this strength grows from your heavy reliance on it. The government grows in the way it is acting right now, is doing this because, and the reason why it has not changed is because it guaranteed, like you're guaranteed um, to be, they are hoping, let's put it this way, they are hoping that you stay heavily reliant and heavily complacent. The cycle is going, and we play a huge part in it. regardless of who's in office, regardless of who's a leader, regardless of, you know, the intentions of the leaders involved. It's a never-ending cycle, and we are being asked to change that narrative and do so spiritually. We're being asked to do things different spiritually. You got the two of air upside down. And what I got from this card right away, upside down, is that this is not the time for you to be on one side and be on the other. When it comes to loving yourself and taking care of yourself, balance is key. Tapping into your shadow energy, so you can see your light. That is what you're being asked to do. But this is not the time for you to, especially, when it comes to hopelessness in your personal growth, this is not the time for you to have one foot out the door when it comes to the heavy work. You're literally being asked to choose what you would like to have for your life. Choose what type of narrative you would like to live in. What type of environment you would like to have. And in fact, how would you change in order for your environment to thrive? You're literally being asked to determine what narrative you would like to write for yourself. Because right now, for today anyhow, there's confusion. There's a lot of confusion in regards to what type of person you are destined to be. Like, there's a lot of confusion, and there's a lot of hopelessness. There's a lot of discord within you. And Spirit is basically saying to pick a side, choose a side, determine right now what type of person you would like to be in this day and age for today. You're not being asked to do anything extravagant in one city, but this is the time for you to stop playing and determine what type of person you are looking to be. Because the moment you change, your environment changes. Once you begin to change and you come up with the determination to change, when you have that resolve to change, when you have that resolve to step into your power and to see your own divinity, your whole environment starts to shift. Slowly but surely, or quickly, your environment will shift. This is not the time for you to determine who's going to stay in your life and who isn't. Because the real ones are going to stay with you and watch you grow and prop you up. These are also the same people who are going to tell you about yourself when you fucking up. These are the people who are going to help you see your strength and your confidence, and they're going to be inspired by you and influenced by you. But in order for you to even get to that point, your mind and your body are to be aligned. The perception itself is going to change. And you are being asked by Spirit, or being told by Spirit, to not run away from the changes and to not run away from what is inevitable. Because if you're not going to learn this lifetime, you're definitely going to learn in the other. That's how I'm getting reincarnation. That's how this life cycle works. You're not going to be able to run away from the lessons you are supposed to learn. You're just not going to. You're not going to be able to. So you're being asked to step up now so you can see your strength in this day and age for today. Because the world, as it is, needs more people like you. Is craving more people like you. There are so many people in this world who don't know who they are, yet you're the perfect person to influence somebody else once you get your stuff together. And that's the bottom line. So it does not surprise me at all is that this is the first lesson, this is the first message for today, for this month, because um, it is Labor Day, for one, and there is a lot of um, productivity energy that's going around too. There are people who are literally thinking about today in a way that's like, okay, what can I like? For one, I'm resting, but I am to do something. What am I to do? There's a lot of people who are looking for a greater purpose, and the purpose is within them. The purpose is within them. They just have, as they are being called, to ask Spirit to help them navigate through this whole system so they can find the deeper purpose within themselves. Because the system, as it is now, is doing everything it can to make sure that you stay on the mill. You stay on this what do they call it, like the wheel, that the spinning wheel, I guess is called, the one that a gerbil or hamster's on, the hamster wheel, that's what it's called. The system as it is, they're doing everything it can to make sure that you don't even have the time that in their minds, you don't have the time to find out who you are as a person or to find your own divinity. There are many of us who are awakening spiritually. But capitalism, in the way that the capitalist system works, is overworking you and draining you. And this is time for you to tap into spirit so you can, it doesn't, you're literally being asked to put yourself first, despite the fact of your work history, despite the fact of your work environment. You're being asked to put yourself first, and your spirituality first. Because regardless of how productive you are, if you are not establishing that connection with spirit or your spirit guides, you're not going to be able to find your purpose or even have the time to do so. The system, as it is making sure that you're so tired out that, again, you're going to be heavily reliant on that system to thrive and to live. That's why these systems have worked so well, because they require you to have this heavily reliance on them. And so you're being asked to challenge that. Some of y'all have allergies too. So just be aware of that. I'm beginning, my nose is being stuffy. My nose is stuffy, and I'm getting a bit of a headache. So some of y'all are walking around with allergies. Just take care of yourself. If you're not a vegan, have like eat honey. Like a tablespoon of honey is really good with that. Um, I'm also giving dandelions for those who are dealing with allergies as well. But All right, so that's all I have, well, we have for today's message. Um, if it resonated with you in any way, shape, or form, please, please, please subscribe to the Bowtie Psychic YouTube page. Also, you can like and share and comment. Also, if you would like a more in-depth reading, you can also, let's see, I always do this. If you like a more in-depth reading, you can go to the bowtiepsychic.com and schedule an appointment, and we will go on from there. You can also follow me on Twitter, not Twitter, but Facebook and Instagram. I am no longer on Twitter. It's a lot. So that is all I have for you. Thank you so much for sharing your energy and your time with me. I really appreciate it. And I will see you tomorrow. Peace.